All right. So today we are going to look more into Bootstrap. Yeah, last time we just got a simple introduction, but today we're going to we're just going to look at the most important thing. We're not going to cover a lot of content, but what we're going to cover is very, very important. It's called a grid system, like how your content should be laid out. Yeah, so we're going to create a fresh new project. And like I said, all you need to download CSS. Yeah, so I already downloaded CSS. This is the zipped file like I showed you last time. Then you can extract it. It has very many folders, but we know which one are we interested in and the exact file that we're interested in. Yeah, so double click, open this, go inside CSS. Then I pick the two files I need, or actually one, this one of bootstrap.mini. For now, this is what we need. But later on, you can need more. But for now, like at the beginning, this is what we need. So I'm going to copy this. So I come back to the desktop. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it a Bootstrap grid system. Yeah, so inside it, I'll have my index.html, which I'm going to create later on, but I'll have a CSS folder. Then inside CSS, I paste that. Yeah, so that's all I need for now. That's all I need for Bootstrap. Yeah, so I'm going to open this folder with my editor so that I can go ahead to code. Yeah, so we have this. So I need to create a new file within the folder here. I need to create a new file of index.html. Okay, yeah, so we can create like a folder for image and all that. But today what we're going to look at, we're not going to look at images. We're just going to look at the grid system, and it is very, very important. Yeah, so I'm going to generate some code of HTML5. Yeah, so I'm going to let me give it a title of Bootstrap grid system. Okay, just test it. Let me just type something like hello world. Yeah, I just want to test it. Then let me run it in a browser. Now I'm using some extensions, but you know that the process, this is just for me to make presentation faster or easier. But you know the process you go through as long as you just go and open it with your browser that you have. Yeah, so it's working, which is good. Yeah, we can remove now the text. Okay. Yeah, so we do the first things first. Which one is first? We need to include this CSS file, this one of Bootstrap. So we need to include it in our HTML file. Yeah, you know how we do it. We use a link. We use a link tag, and we say that the relationship between them is a style sheet. Yeah, then the type of the file that we're linking to is a text file, but it is of CSS. Then the source of that file is found in the CSS folder, and it's called bootstrap.css. Yeah, then I told you it is always good practice to also create your own like custom CSS just for more like styling. So I'm going to call it custom CSS. Then I come back here and also include it. So I'll include it too. Style sheet type goes to text stroke CSS. Then I'll give the source, that is CSS folder. Then it is custom.css. Yeah, just to test this, I'm just going to test this one. Then the other one, we shall test it when we start writing Bootstrap. Yeah, I'm just going to test this custom one. So I can say body, and maybe I give some background color. So the background color, maybe I put some changes, which means that it works. So we can come back and remove this. Okay, so now we are ready. We are ready to start. We've done all we need to set. We've linked these two files. We've linked to Bootstrap. This is the line that is linking to Bootstrap. Yeah. So this one gives you access to very many classes. When you try to these classes which are already written for you, you just need to call them. Only that. That's all you need. Yeah. So we're going to look at the grid system. What is a grid system? Yeah, it's the way the content is laid out on a website. Yeah. So it is very like a cross or similar to the Flexbox. That's actually Bootstrap uses Flexbox or the Flex that we looked at last time. Yeah, so even if you go online, so I'm going to go on Google here. Then I come here and I type in Bootstrap. Now you have to be keen with the version of Bootstrap used. The most common version, or where Bootstrap started from, or the one that is so widely used, is called Bootstrap 3. 3 was upgraded to 4 by removing some classes and adding more. Then the latest one is 5. Why am I using 5? Is because it is more mobile friendly and it has more cool features which we may need to include in our websites, and it is the latest version. Yeah, but whether someone using 3, 4, it is also okay. But for us, we're using 5. So you can just type Bootstrap 5, then grid system. Yeah, I'm trying to show you that you can get information from anywhere. Yeah, so the most important source of information is the page, the official page, the official Bootstrap page, this one here. Yeah, so you can see that when you are on the Bootstrap page, even if you are just on getbootstrap.com, just click on docs. Yeah, we click on docs. Then now you can come here like layout. Then you'll find a grid. Yeah, so click on grid. Then you'll get the documentation about that grid. Yeah, so then you can even read more details about what it means. But in a nutshell, what it means is how the content is laid out. And by default, this website, it is taken that one single page has 12 columns. Yeah, like this whole page has 12 columns, which are hidden. Like you can arrange it in 12 columns. Yeah, that's what it means. So as you're laying out content, you can have different rows and you rule out how many columns should that content take over. Yeah, that's what we're going to look at only. Yeah, so you'll get it later on. No need to worry. If we are to come like here and maybe you check on images, you can see this. Maybe, yeah, I can go to any image like here. Let me zoom it in so that you can see it a bit. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. Like this is like a web page. So it is taken to have 12 columns: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a full complete website is taken, like a web page is taken to have 12 columns. So it depends on you. When you create one row, you can say that I want my content on a certain screen to occupy the first 3 columns. Then another one to occupy maybe the second 5 columns. Then another one to occupy the last columns, like that. Yeah, so you can see that here it is showing you that here you're giving each column like the content to occupy one column. Then here using 3, 3, yeah, totaling to 12. Then here using 4, 4, totaling 12. Then here using 8 and 4, totaling 12. Then here using 2, 2 and 2, 2, then 4, then 2, 2. So in the addition, it should be 12 columns. That's what it should be. Yeah. So how do you achieve that? Let me go back to, yeah, our page is now empty, which is okay. Yeah. So we, first of all, in Bootstrap, you need to first wrap all the content within a container. Yeah. How do you do it? Just get your div tag, then all the content will be in this container. So like we said, this in Bootstrap, you already given a container. Okay, like you already given, the classes are already written for you in Bootstrap. So for you, you're just supposed to call them. Then you don't have to write the CSS by yourself. Yeah. So here we have two classes for container. The first one is called container. Then another one is called container field. So what is the difference? The difference between the container is about width. So the container will leave some padding on the right and left. Then the container field will take full width. Yeah, how can we see it? Maybe I can come and put a border on the body. So I can, let's try and see if it will work. I can put a border of 1 pixel, and maybe it is solid. Maybe color, let's use black. Yeah, so we check. Yeah, so now you can see there is a border. There is a border around, though it is very small. Okay, when we start writing the content, you'll be able to see it. Let me go back to 100. When we start writing the column, but you can see when I try to, there is a border around that. Yeah, so we're going to write, we're just going to create column, then you'll see, we're just going to create more content, then you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so for now, let's just go with container. Yeah, we know that container wraps all the content around it. Yeah, so within this, we can now have different rows. So different rows will be taking some content, then within that, we can have different columns. So how do you create a row? Just use the division div tag, then here give a class and call it row. So you don't have to write CSS. It's already, now it already knows that this is a row. So all we need to do is to write a column. So I'm going to put just 2 columns. Or again, use div tag. That's why I told you now you need to, when you need to understand how the div tag works. We mostly use div tag when it comes to custom CSS and Bootstrap. Yeah, so within this, it will be called a column. We're going to come back and give more, like more insights about it. Then let me create another column, class column. So I have 2 columns. Then I want to show you, let me see. Okay, we don't have any content yet, which is okay. So I'm just going to draw, I'm going to create a class just to ensure that every column I do, a border is drawn around it. Yeah, so I'm going to create a custom class, and that custom class is going to be called, let me call it a custom border. Yeah, so it is possible for you, in case you want 2 classes to style a certain object or a certain section, you can write them here. Like I have a class row, then I have another class. You just put a space. So I have another class called custom border. Yeah. So this one is going to put, I'm going to ensure that it puts not around the row, but every column. How do we do it? We have to go now. This is not existing in Bootstrap, so we need to style it from here, from our custom CSS. We shall say it is dot custom border, but I don't want to, I'm going to use the same border here. Actually, I'm going to remove that upper border on the body. It didn't work out well. Like it was there, but it wasn't visible. Yeah, but I don't want the border to be drawn around the row. I want the border to be drawn around the div tags, like the children, the child here. Like this is row, but these child, like these children, these div tags that come below row. Yeah, so this is how it is written. Like custom border, but a child div, the divs which are within the custom border class, or anything that is taking custom border. I want it to have 1 pixel, solid black. Okay, we save this. We check it out, nothing yet because we don't have, there is something there, but we don't have content. So let's just type in some content. Yeah, let me just use a paragraph. Just now I say column 1. Then here we put column 2. Okay, now you can see, yeah, so you can see column 1, then you can see column 2. So there are 2 containers. Like I told you, there is container. So for it to leave some space here, it will leave some free space here. But there's another one called container fluid here. If you add dash and say fluid instead of container, it's going to use full width. Yeah, like that. Now you can see that it is on full width. All our content is on full width. Yeah, so that is what I was talking about. So we're going to deal with a container instead of container field, but in some cases, you'll find that you need to use full width. Yet it depends on what you're doing. Yeah, so you can create as many containers as you want. We can duplicate another container below it. Maybe I can duplicate this same container here. Okay, we shall duplicate it later on. Let's first just work on one. Yeah, so we've seen the difference between container fluid. If I remove fluid and I put just container, you can see that now it is leaving space on the left and on the right. It doesn't leave any space on the top and the bottom. Yeah, just that there is space on the bottom because we haven't yet filled enough content. Yeah, so all right, so that is the difference. We've seen the difference. Yeah, so we have the div tag. This is opening here, closing here. It is wrapping all our content within a container, and the class we're giving it is called container. And then we have another kind of, let's also take it as a container, but now this time round it is a row. It is one row. I can have as many rows as possible. Yeah, so I'm taking one row. Then within that, I'm creating different columns. Yeah, so within a row, you just have to say class row. Yeah, then this is just a custom class that we've built. Yeah, so it's not part of Bootstrap, and you can see where I've designed it from here, just to put a border around my content. Okay, so now let's go into the first column. Yeah, so within the first column, okay, let's just have, let me say H1. Yeah, I can say column 1. Then within this, we can have paragraph, and we're going to get some paragraph. Yeah, so I'm going to come to some website that generates random text here, and I get like 2 lines of code. This is just random text. It doesn't mean anything. So let me just take the first one like that. I'm going to have two. Let me just copy the same. Okay, so now our content is like this. So that is okay. So column 1, we can see that there are 2 paragraphs, which is okay. So we're going to copy the same into other columns. So I have these 2. It is okay to copy and paste code as long as you know what you're doing. Don't ever copy and paste code if you don't know what you're doing, because it will break all your entire code. Yeah, so now we have this, so we can see very well column 1. Column 2 is missing H1. We're using H1. Yeah, so this is column 2. Okay, so we have column 1 and column 2. So now you're wondering, how do you now tell that column 1 occupy these columns? Remember, we looked at grid system, And the grid system was showing that the whole web page has 12 columns. Okay, this is how you do it. Yeah, so it's a little bit not hard, but when it is new, it will look hard to you, but you'll understand it. Yeah, so this is how it is written. In case, let's comment it. Okay, around it here. Yeah, so this is how you write a column class. First of all, you write column, then dash. So you write the size of the screen. Now there are different sizes of screens. You research about them. You can find them anywhere, like on internet. Maybe when you go to even W3 schools, you can find you can come on a grid. Okay, you can come on grid, then you'll find this. These are the sizes, like on small devices uses SM, then medium uses MD, large uses LG, extra large uses X. So we are commanding Bootstrap that please, when I'm on a medium size screen, there I will say MD. Like this column on the medium size screen should occupy how many columns? If I say 1, it's going to occupy 1 column. Remember we said there are 12 columns within 1 row. So if I say 1, then on the medium screen, that content is going to occupy just 1. So you can do the same, medium screen, then maybe you say now this time round it is 2. So it can be between 1 and 12, but just be sure that within 1 row, now this is 1 row. So these columns should add up to 12. So if I have 2 columns and I give this one 1, it means that this one is going to take 11. They should add up to 12. If I have 3 of them, maybe here, if I have 3 of them and this one is taking like 2 and this one is taking like 6, then the total that is 8. So this one should take 4. Yeah, so like this column, ensure that it occupies 4 of the grid system. Remember, the grid system is having 12 columns. Let's just do it in practice. Yeah, we're not going to do it on 2 rows, on 2 columns. Let me just create another column so that we have 3 of them. Yeah. Okay, now I have 3 of them. So before we do it, let me try to adjust the size of my web browser. See, when I adjust it, it's not, okay, it's responsive a bit that the text goes down, but now it is stuck, like it reaches somewhere and the columns are like, it's not good. Just imagine you on the phone. Yeah, so that's why we adding what will happen. I'm going to say the first, there are 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make sure they all occupy 4 columns on the grid system. So I'm going to use medium screen. Just medium screen, when we adjust the web browser to reach a point when it is on a medium screen. When you want to see the real sizes, which are called medium screen, just go like on internet, then here they will show you that small screen means width, which is greater than 576 pixels, then medium 768. Yeah, so those are sizes of the screen or the size of the web browser. Yeah, most of the times when you are on the laptop, of course, you'll use it in full mode. So that's what they are shown. Yeah, but for now, we're going to manually adjust the web browser. Yeah. So I'm just going to use medium screen so that I'm capable of increasing and reducing and we see it changing. So on medium screen, the first column should occupy, let's first give equally 4. Yes, medium screen 4. So these are 8. Then it means that in order for me to complete my full like row, all the 12 columns in the grid system, this one should also take 4. Yeah. So we come back here. Then now let's try to, now it was on full width, like somewhere. Okay, let's say it was like this. Now, when I try to reduce it and it goes below the medium screen, maybe it reaches small screen, it's going to stack the columns. You see now they are reducing, but now when it reaches small screen, it stacks them. Yeah, so that's what happens when someone is using a phone. You're going to see the content which is laid out like this, but when you're on the computer, it's going to be like laid out in a row. So we can see it from any website. Maybe even if I come here at home page of this, yeah, you see that here, I even showed you last time that here we have HTML, then some box around here, some content. Yeah, we have another language, they show you some content. Now, when I try to reduce the screen, it's going to be responsive to the size of the screen. Now, when I try to reduce, then it reaches a moment. Now, this is like a tab, a view on a tab. This is the size of a tablet, a small tablet. This is how it will be viewed. But on the phone, the screen is smaller. So you can see that on the phone, it gets more stacked and it hides more content. Then when you reach exactly like on the size of your phone, like that is the width of the phone. Now you can see that the content is displayed in a different way, which is better. So we don't want to see this like on the phone and you seeing these two, they will be very small, to not be looking good. Yeah, that's why we're using Bootstrap. Yeah. And you know, Bootstrap, it is CSS part, which is already written for you. So it is CSS that does that, but we don't want to always write a lot of code when Bootstrap is already there. Yeah. So that's what we're also trying to do here. So I'm giving this content occupy 4 columns, then also this one 4, then this one also 4. So if I say that please on the grid system, this column should occupy 2 columns on the grid system. This one in the middle, let it occupy 8. Then how many am I left with? This is 2, 8, then 10. So I'm left with 2. The total is 12 here. So let me check. I check my code. So you can see that this is occupying 2 on the grid system. Then these are 8 columns on the grid system. The column 2 is occupying 8 columns in the grid system. Then the last column is occupying 2 columns on the grid system. Yeah, so here I'm just using column 1, column 2, column. This is supposed to be column 3. But just know that that will be some content. There will be some content. It can be an image. It can be anything you want that you're guiding, that please occupy this. Yeah, so then other things can come in later, like centering the content, all that. But for now, we just wanted to look at that. Yeah, so I can, now let's duplicate all that container. Yeah, so let's remove this. In order for you to get this, you have to write the code. Like you have to write the code by yourself. So I'm going to duplicate this all container. It is ending here. So I'm going to duplicate all of it, but now this time around, I'm going to use full width and I increase the number of columns there. Yeah, so we can see that I've duplicated there too. Yeah, now, but the second one, I'm going to use container fluid. Yeah, it's not going to be looking okay, but I'm just showing you. I'm just trying to show you. So I can even put, let me put some page break around here. Yeah, let me put 2 of them. Yeah, so now you can see that this is how container behaves. It will leave some spacing or what they call padding on the left and right, but container fluid will use full width. Yeah, so let's now come here and we use, we add more columns. This is our second container. Yeah, so I can add, so this is some container which is stopping there. I can add another one. Yeah, so this, we're going to call it column 4. Yeah, so now you can see that if I do that mistake, it may be hard to see, but it can't fit. Like I put 4 columns and I've gone past 12. When I try to add here, I've gone past 12. This is 2, 10, 12. So this 2 is now, it's going to be taken to another row, which we don't want. So now I need to reduce on, maybe I can select this one, take 3. So that is 5. This is 7. How many will be left? It will be 5. Yeah, like that. So when you look at it, now you can see one is taking 2, another one 3, another one, yeah, like that. That's how it takes. If you want it to be uniform, you can just divide it, therefore. So you can say that each is going to take 3, 3. Yeah, like that. So that now they are equally occupied. So that is the most important thing in Bootstrap, like how you lay out your content. When you try to reduce this, when you try to responsive, it reaches a moment and the columns will stack on each other. And there the content will look better. So we've not yet done the most like the most complicated Bootstrap. So don't expect it to be very nice, but at least now you're getting the code. You're trying to get the big picture. If you write without CSS, you're going to see your page, it will not be expanding, or it will not be adjusting according to the screen size. Yeah, it will not be doing so. Yeah. So now, now you're wondering, why am I using only medium? So you can possibly go and tell it, okay, let's it's okay, we can have the other one above. Okay, let's just have it there. So you can come and say that that is for medium screen. But he said, now if it is on the large screen, I don't want it to be equal. I want it to be occupying like, okay, I want it to be occupying 2, 2. How do you write that? Column. Then here you can say large. Yeah, large uses LG. If you come back here, you can check under tutorials. Then you go to Bootstrap. Yeah, here they will give you Bootstrap 3, 4, which one do you want? Then you check under Grid Basics. Then you'll find here how is large display represented with LG. Yeah, so I'm going to write for large. Let's just dictate for 2 screens. Like on medium, I want it to spread it using 3, 3. I want it to behave in a different way. So I want the first one to be occupying 4, like this. Yeah, so now I'm telling it, please, on a medium screen, this one should occupy 3 columns of a grid system, but on a large system, on a large screen, it should occupy 4 of them. Yeah, so I do the same here, call large. Then now I want this one to be 4, but this one to be 2. There are 4 of them, so I need to, like I told you, you can write different classes. So this is one class, then you just put a space and you write another class. So I also these 2. So how many are those? This is 8. So it is 4 left. Yeah, call large 4. So that means on a medium screen, it's going to be occupying equally 3, 3, 3. But on a large screen, it's going to be occupy the first column is going to occupy 4 grid columns. Then the second one is going to occupy only 2. And also another one is going to occupy only 2. Then this other one is going to occupy 4. So now let's look at it, how it is looking like. Yeah, now it is looking like that. Why? Because I'm on a large screen. I'm on it's like 16-inch. Yeah, so it is now adopting this, because I've told it on a large screen, please don't use 3, 3. The first one should take 4, then this one should take 2, and the last one should take 4. So it's what it is following. Now let's try adjust. Let's start like adjusting. When we reach on medium, you will see it breaking to equal, making them equal. Yeah, so I'm reducing. then the pixels are approaching small, they are approaching medium screen. When they approach medium screen, the columns are going to become equal. Yeah, now you see, I've hit the medium screen. It is around there. So when I reach medium screen, the columns are becoming equal. They are using 3, 3, 3. But once I'm past that, I'm in large screen. So they are going to follow 4, 2, 2, 4, like that. So you can dictate, like even on a small screen, you just come here on small. It says small is SM. Then you say on a small screen, just use two columns. Okay, just let me see. Okay, we can. It depends because now we have 4 columns, but let's just come up with something. This is 2, then also another one, 2. Maybe the last one will take the remaining ones. Small 2. Yeah, I just wanted to write small, the first one. Small, then this. Those are 4. Let's just put 4. Then what is how many are left? Also 4. So here, let's just put 3. That is 7. Then we left with 5. So on a small screen, I also want it to be displayed in a different way. So yeah, 5 plus 3 is 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so when you look at this small one, it adds to 12. Then also when you look at medium, it adds 12 and also large 12. But they're having different configuration. So I want us to look at that. Yeah, so yes, on a large screen, it is following 4, 2, 2, 4. Okay, on a small screen, they are becoming equal. All of them 3, 3. No, that is medium, on the medium screen. Our code is, that's what our code is saying. On the medium screen, use 3, 3, 3. Then this small one, it is like 2, 2. Then others are 3, 5. So it's kind of like increasing in size, but the first column is small, then another one is also small, then another one is bigger. So let's go and reduce it more before we hit the phone, before they stack on top of each other. Yeah. So it's going to reach some pixels and it follows that. Yeah. So it is there. Now you can see that is a small screen. It's like a mini tablet or like your phone when it is in a landscape mode. Yeah, you can see that this one is occupying 2, this one 2, this one 3, this one is 5. Now, when you go to very small, like the phone, then there they will just stack like that. So you can see that now using Bootstrap, we are dictating, we are displaying our content the way we want it to be displayed. Now, there are advanced way of, instead of us hard coding this, there are some advanced way of doing it, which I'm not going to show it to you right now. I want you to first try this out so that you manually controlling it. But there is a way of using just your row here, this row class, and you don't code anything. Like you don't put any class, you just put call class in columns. Then you do what? You dictate it from row. There's other classes, but it needs more adjustments, which I don't want us to go into. For now, just hard code it the way you want it. That on a small screen, display these columns this way. Then on a medium screen, this is the way you should display them. On a large screen, this is the way you should display them. Yeah, I've told you the whole page, like, is taken to have 12 columns. The web page is, its width is taken to have 12 columns in the grid system. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to give here. Yeah, ensure that when you say large, maybe on a medium screen, this occupy 3, it means that it is taking 3 columns of the grid system. Then another one also takes 3, so those are 6 already taken. When you give 3, there's already 9 already taken, so it's only 3 remaining. So always ensure that this one adds up to 12. Yeah, then this class, ensure that all your rows are within a container. When you use container, just container, it's going to leave some space on the right, on the left and right, which is good sometimes. But if we just use, if you use container fluid, it's going to take fluid. This is container fluid, this is container. Yeah. So that is the CSS grid system. I would like to hear some questions from you because it involves some, it involves some kind of logic or thinking about it. Yeah. So anyone with a question? You can either unmute and talk or you send it in a chat. They are all, it's all okay. You can send it in a chat and I attend to it. Okay. Maybe the questions will be coming in later. Okay. So that is Bootstrap grid system. Yeah, someone's raising their hand. Okay, Daniel, you can ask, you can unmute and ask, or you can type it in a chat.
My question is simply does Bootstrap help us in responsive sites?
Yeah, but it is what we've been talking about, is making the websites responsive according to the size. That's why you've been seeing me reducing and increasing the web browser width, and you are seeing the content being responsive.
That means we can also use it like if you want to adjust more things like a color or anything else.
Yeah, you can use it. You can use it because it is CSS, it is pure CSS. As long as the class is already there, the class that does something for you is already there, then you just call that class here in the code. Like the way you've seen, I was just calling like these classes, but when you check in my CSS, I don't have them here. But in case you want to see them, they are already written in that .mini. Like here, I can come to this and I search it. Yeah, so you can see that that class is already written. It is here. It is already having some CSS inside it. Yeah, it is here. It is having some CSS inside it. Even if you replace it with 3, it is also there. So now that means this is a very large file of CSS that has very many classes that you just call and use. But it is CSS. Just someone sat down and they organized their CSS.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you can't see, if what you want to do is not there in Bootstrap, then that's why I always tell you to write a custom CSS file. Like I wanted to put a border on just the div files which are found within a certain class I created. So I've written that in a custom.css file. Yeah, and avoid using the same names, like this. If you find that this name of a class has been used by Bootstrap, don't use it in your custom CSS. One will override another, and of course there are some calculations that are involved. It is called CSS specificity, which you're not going to go into. But in order for you to avoid confliction, don't use the same names as Bootstrap is using. How can you find out? You can just come here to the file and search, and maybe you want to use a name called border. Yeah. Now you see that the okay, that is kind of like a property name. For example, okay, let me call it border. Okay, I want to call it my border. Yeah, and you see that is not there. Now that means you can use it here in your custom CSS. Yeah, and also don't use names of like these are property and value. This is property and value. Don't use this name as your class name. Yeah, because it is a property name, you'll be confusing yourself. Okay, any other question? Okay, looks like you have no more questions. All right, but that's what we've covered today. It's called Bootstrap grid system. we said you start with a container div, use the class container. Yeah, you can use either container or container fluid. So that shows you that all your rows are going to go within a container. So you can have different rows. And how do you create rows? Just write div, then class, you give a row class. Yeah, so for it, it will already know, as long as you've connected the other min.css file, it already know what you mean by making it a row. Then you can have other rows. Maybe you have 2 of them. Yeah, then within the rows, now you have columns. Yeah, also use same div. Yeah, then you have a column, but we said as a, sorry, it is div. Yeah, so we said for column, give a class, say it is column, then dictate like on a which screen, maybe let me use medium screen. I want this column to occupy how many columns in the grid system. I want it to occupy 6. Yeah, so also now that means I'm going to have another one and it occupies 6. So you can have 2 more, but for them they don't occupy the whole 6. It can occupy maybe 4. Then the last one occupies 2. Like that. So the other row can have only 2 of these, but when for them they are occupying 6, 6. Yeah. So now that will show that I'm good to go. So this is like the Bootstrap I've written. Other will be content. Yeah. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. Like within this, instead of you using H1, Bootstrap also has a class for headings. So even if I write div, like within this div, I can just say class, and I say this is H1. Yeah, and I type now here heading 1. Now I'm going to use that and I compare it with this, and you tell me whether it will be there's a difference. So this I've used H1 of HTML. This one I've used class H1 that is found in in Bootstrap. Actually, let me write them in these ones, which are just 2. Yeah, I've written it in this row that has heading 1, heading 1. There's no big difference. Yeah, so Bootstrap has those. It has headings. You just write the class here inside. So I can come. Let me duplicate this. See here, we're using Bootstrap. Then we're going to test when we just using HTML. So this is H2. This is H3. This is H4. H5 and H6. Yeah, so we can say this is heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, and heading 6. Then here, let's use HTML, the HTML headings. Then you're going to see that there is no difference. Yeah, so this is H2. Yeah, H2, H3, H3, H4, H5, H6. Yeah, so H6, H5, H4, H3. Yeah, so here I can change H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Yeah. Okay. Now you can see that they are looking similar. Yeah, but the other one will put it on the same line unless you break. But this one for HTML, the one which is inbuilt in HTML, as long as you type in H1 and you cross it, then you type a different heading, it will take it to another line. But they look identical. Yeah, so maybe I can come here and I put a break tag just to break them, yeah, to break onto a new line. Okay, wait, this is supposed to be div. Sorry about that. It is div, not di. Yeah, when it is div, then that was the problem. Yeah, it is the same. Now you can see that this is written with Bootstrap, this is written with HTML, but they all look identical. Yeah, you can see I have different code. This code is different from this, but I have the same result. Yeah, so there are very many other classes that are there in Bootstrap, very many of them. All these are classes. Like this is a very large document. It's a very large document. Yeah, you can see that it is now not, it is not looking so large because there are no spaces. But if you put spaces, you can see that it's very big. It is very huge. All these are classes for you to utilize. Yeah. So we are going to stop here. Ensure that you work on your websites. Yeah, we said you start developing websites for any school of your choice. Either it is your former school or your current school or your relatives school, any school of your choice. Yeah. So we meet on Friday, then we continue more on Bootstrap. We're going to spend more time on Bootstrap before we go into Git, just to ensure that it sticks around you. So that means I expect you to write very beautiful websites because you will have the skills for Bootstrap. Yeah. Other than that, just go to the YouTube and go through the playlist. You'll find all the. Okay, Gabby, you have a question? What is the question? You can ask, please. Okay, handing in the work, not now. We shall communicate. Just work on the website. Ensure that it's looking good because there will be competitions. Last time we had competitions. There will be competitions and we shall be awarding like the best websites. Yeah, like around top 3. Yeah. So if your website is just having content but it doesn't have any kind of attractive animation or what, it will not win. Yeah. So we still have time, but it is not a lot of time. You need to practice in order for you to come up with something cool. Yeah. Okay, I hope I've answered you. So stop here. We meet on Friday. Have a good night to you all.
Same to
Have
you.
a good